Okay, hey, sorry about that, everyone. But as I was recording, I forgot to realize that iPads don't have unlimited storage. I tried to clean out some of the old videos and also some old apps, but that wasn't doing the trick just yet. So anyway, I'm almost done with what I was covering before when the video abruptly ended. So let me just quickly finish off what I was talking about in terms of the themes and ideas and topics in chapters 8, 9, and 10 of Daughter of Fortune. So this won't take more than 5, 6, 7 minutes, and then that'll cover things. So for sure, by next week, I'll make sure that there's enough storage space on the app so I can give you the fourth video, or most likely I might just go ahead and do the webcam capture like I'm doing right now through YouTube directly. Okay, well listen, when we left off, I was talking a little bit about chapter 8, and the fact that that Joaquin had gone to California. So now Eliza was obviously she was heartbroken. She didn't know what to do. So of course she took matters into her own hands and decided to go to California, and that was the focus of chapter 9. But also in chapter 9, when the video had cut off, I was talking a little bit about Paulina Rodriguez actually, and what her business strengths were in terms of she foresaw that California, the key to success in California wasn't in simply mining. In fact, as she colorfully put it, she called it nothing more than yellow crap. But she foresaw that it would be hotels, it would be equipment, it would be clothing, it would be books, it would be liquor, all of that stuff, fruits, vegetables, foods, all kinds of foodstuffs. She knew early on that that would be the key to California's success, California's growth and development, and she was definitely asserting herself vis-a-vis her husband and also her brother as well. Okay, excuse me. And as chapter 9 wraps up, Allende makes an interesting observation about Eliza, that Eliza had crossed the line of decency. So I know for group 3, I think that's definitely something you'll be looking at. So when you get to that part, when your comments are due on chapter 9, I'm definitely curious to see if any of you decide to take on that particular question. So at the end of chapter 9, you might say a new journey had begun. So we'll see how things play out with respect to Eliza as she makes her way toward the north. But as we wrap up with chapter 10, again, one of the things that I comment about in terms of the way Allende structures the story, and this is something that you see quite a bit in a lot of the Latin American literature, is the fact that you see a lot of flashbacks. You go back in time to, in essence, get more of a sense of the character, that is, where he or she comes from, before we go back to where the story left off. We saw that quite a bit with the we saw that quite a bit with respect to Rose and of course her relationship with Carl Bretzner, and then a little bit more about how Eliza came to be. That is, when she was left off with the Summers family. So we see that device happening again in chapter 10, the chapter called Fourth Son, and this chapter is all about the life and times in the background of Dao Jian. And in this, Allende gives a really good description about what's happening in China at this point in time as we get into the 1840s. Before a lot of these political strife and turmoil, social upheaval takes place in China, we get a sense of Dao's character and how he had to face through a lot of the tragedies growing up as a young boy. He finds his calling as a healer, and because of his healing skills, he becomes the protege of the master, or in this case the Zhongyi. I believe that's the proper pronunciation. Again, I don't speak Mandarin, I don't speak Cantonese, so I can't say for sure, but I'm assuming that the proper pronunciation is something on the line of Zhongyi. So I'll go with that until somebody else corrects me otherwise. But the Zhongyi becomes the mentor figure. I guess comparable to the in Kung Fu Panda, where Dustin Hoffman plays the master, and of course Jack Black plays plays the protege, the big the dim-witted panda. But of course he becomes the master as we get to the end of the cartoon. So that's essentially the case that's happening here. The Zhong Yi teaches Dao about all the ways with respect to herbs and remedies and medicines, and about how to conduct life, and about pleasing a woman, all of that fun stuff. So clearly, the Zhong Yi is the father figure, the main mentor as Dao becomes an adolescent and gets into his teenage years. But as chapter 10 wraps up, of course, here's where the political problems take shape in China. Without getting into a lot of the issues which plague China at this point in time, clearly we're seeing the decline of the various dynastic kingdoms there, and the European countries, you might say, are rushing into a China, much like when you see the buzzards pick apart a carcass on a desert highway road. So that's essentially what's happening with China as the various European powers are barging in, especially the English. And here's where Allende talks about the Opium War taking shape, breaking out in 1839. The Zhong Yi's spirit and his health had declined, badly, and when the Zhong Yi passes away, you might say Dao is left with no place to go. He's not quite sure what to do. But because the Zhong Yi taught him a lot of ways of being resourceful, standing up for yourself, that type of thing, it's not surprising that that Dao would recover. Despite the passing of his master, but the lessons of his master he would definitely take with him for the rest of the story. And let's see what else I think is mentioned about chapter 10. But yeah, a great description about what's happening in China in chapter 10, and in fact Allende touches upon it a little bit more when we get into chapter 11. And with that, I think that pretty much covers everything with respect to what's happening in chapters 8, 9, and 10. Again, I apologize for the little breakup right there in terms of the last video cutting off, but hopefully this little installment right here will fill in the gaps where I was trying to leave off. So that's it from here. That's it for discussing in chapters 8, 9, and 10, and a little bit of what's happening in the United States in the Humboldt America reading. So we'll pick this up again next week as we get into chapters 11 through 14, and of course concurrently with what's happening in the United States as we get further and further into what's called the antebellum era. So the era before before the Civil War, and of course leading up to the time of Manifest Destiny. That will be the focus coming into next week's video. All right, so that's it from here. That's it from the French Valley Home Office, and I'll see you guys again next week with the fourth installment of these videos.